period is up, typically if the town takes over the road, they accept the drainage district as well, and then the taxes kick in, or the fees for this drainage district kick in. That's what's occurring right now.
Who maintains the schedule for the upkeep?
That's through my office and the town engineer. It's basically in the guidebook of the DEC. So there's these regulations that have to be followed. It has to be documented, so that if the town ever gets audited, we have the documentation to back up that we've been doing the proper thing. Okay.
I got one question, because this is a question that was posed to me. Who's responsible for cleaning up keeping the area looking decent?
The district?
Yeah.
The area of the district?
Yeah.
That would be the maintenance of the district, absolutely.
That's the town.
That's the town? Okay.
That's
Usually
Because
like a
this
highway
was a
department
thing
or
that was-
maintenance
Yeah, like-
department.
We contracted out.
We'll
if
mow
we have
it,
Yeah.
weed whack it, whatever.
There's boundaries.
But it hasn't been done, that's why I.
No,
was
it
asking.
hasn't. This is our first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has been done up to this point, and then we are looking at starting maintenance probably on this in the spring. That's something I have to sit down with the supervisor and the board to discuss exactly how we're going to do this. There's several ways that we can do that, whether we job this out, or bid it out, or whether we do it in-house, and that's to be decided by the board, not me. I will be presenting the board
Okay,
with
because I mean,
different options.
the people asked me, because they're out there mowing it.
Because we just took it over. We just took it over. They did it up to August. So now it's ours. Now it's ours.
And if they
Not
continue
ours,
mowing
it's-
it, it
it's-
saves them money because we don't have to raise the tax
That's true.
amount. Or,
That's true.
really. So
But
it's in their own best interest.
as I'm gonna look at next season, because typically that's when it's done, other than the periodic inspections, we will be starting this up probably in the spring.
Okay.
And hopefully for the first 2 years, it's just a matter of minor maintenance. But as the years go on, as you know, anything else, it deteriorates. That's what the inspections are for, and then it's gonna be pointed out to the board. And as it says, in the map plan and report, if it, for some reason, that $2,600 doesn't take care of what we need to take care of, that budget is to put in next year's, and it's raised the following year with
Right.
board approval.
Right.
So, any other questions?
Very comprehensive. Thanks, George.
Okay.
No.
Any
public comments?
Does
Or
it start
question?
out at 3?
Excuse me?
Is it starting out at 3
At 3 what?
homes? Lots.
No, there's 10 lots in this subdivision.
It's full. The federal regulations specifies that it starts at 3
It doesn't
lots.
specify.
Oh.
Typically, it's done over 3 lots. 4 lots or more typically is when it kicks in. But there's a lot to do with the size of the area that's disturbed. It has a lot to do with everything.
Yeah.
So, it's all in their guidelines, which is the book,
Mm-hmm.
2 inches thick. And it gets more and more every year. As Patty knows, I attend meetings every month just to keep up on this so that we're on top of it.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
The Meadows, right?
Yes.
On the
On the
Burbank
Burbank
Meadows.
Meadows Drainage District.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I do have a question for the attorney. Tom, is this something that we have to do every single year?
Yes, this is a
As
taxing
part of a
district.
tax.
So, and going forward, George, you gave a very good explanation. Every district that the town takes over would have to have a public hearing.
Okay, every single year?
Correct.
Okay.
The members of that district, I mean, it's open to the town,
Right.
Right.
but specifically the members of those districts
Okay.
should have a reason, have a mechanism to come speak to the board. Let's say it's a year where you need repair and it's going
Right.
to be significant.
Okay,
Right.
They could speak to the board if this is their avenue to speak to the board
Okay.
publicly at the public hearing.
great, thank you.
Okay. So now I'd like to open the
That's public hearing.
public hearing on the 2018 town budget.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Are there any comments, public comments on the 2018 town budget?
Give me a minute to get up.
I found the budget that Ryan put out were very hard to follow, but this is the things I did pick up. You did not follow the department head's, the superintendent of highways suggestion that he keep his 4 men. I suggest for the benefit of the highway department and keeping the highways clean, you add the fourth man. I didn't happen to see a secretary listed for the planning board or the ZBA. Maybe I missed it, but there is a secretary needed to do minutes and send out notices and all the rest of the legalities that are needed for planning board and ZBA. And also, I did ask for you to put money in the budget for the Burbank Rural Cemetery, which does not have enough money to complete the mowing for next year. Now, if you want to see it grow up in hay, that's fine. But legally, you can give us money to get the mowing done. All we do is mowing. You can see the fence is awful, but the only thing we do is the mowing. And unfortunately, trustees are in their 80s. And we can't do the mowing anymore. It's
That's no excuse.
physical. Thank you, John. Maybe we could, we could get the fence would hold in a few sheep, if we could get a few sheep and let them chew it. Anyway, we have enough, I think, for next year, we would need about $2,000. Or you could have Tommy sent over the maintenance man, or Jacob. Mowing cemetery is going around all those gravestones. It's a nuisance. But anyway, that might be a thing that would come up. Just those 3 things that I have.
So
Okay.
I did just want
Oh,
to speak
hold
to
on.
your cemetery request.
I want to speak to her first.
Go ahead.
All right, regarding the 4 men in the highway department, he's had 3 men since September 6th. And before that, he had a man that exhausted all of his sick and personal time and was using time, and it didn't seem to be a problem. And he didn't hire a man or even request to hire a man after September 6th. I don't know what he was waiting for. And I did a lot of research on the previous years, and in December of 2015, I think there may have been 2, maybe 4 days out of the entire month that there was 4 men on the job. And then you had the year when he had a gentleman that was sick and was out of work, and he was 6 months with 3 guys. So I just assumed that he can do it with 3 guys. He's not replacing the gentleman that left, but we did give him an extra
I know.
winter guy and 2 summer help, which he's never had before, he's never requested. And in the beginning, January of 2016, I said to him, why don't you request for summer help? And he just never did. So if he gets 2 summer guys, that's 5 guys in the summer he has, and 5 guys in the winter.
Okay, well,
And
that
it
was,
saves-
that was my opinion, Patty, that was,
Okay, I'm just explaining why I even thought of these things, because, let's face it, there's hardly ever more than 3 guys there.
yeah, well, also, he's been attacked just about every time he came to the mic at every single meeting, so maybe he was holding back a little bit.
Then, regarding the the secretary for the zoning and planning, back in, January of 2017, we let everyone know that the combined title that we use is land use secretary,
It's
and
in
yes, it is in there.
It's in there.
What is the title you're
Land use secretary.
She does both.
She does both, planning and zoning.
It's just change in title, so it moved number.
And instead of taking half the salary from zoning and half the salary from planning, or these hours from there and those hours from there. All of her hours are just taken from the land use.
Oh,
It's,
also 9710, 9060, and 9040 have 2 pages in the budget.
9710, 9640, and what was the other one?
9710,
Yeah.
9060, and 9040 on the budget I picked up at the last meeting.
60.
9060,
Those numbers are on 2 different pages.
904. Okay.
But I did
We'll
want to
look into
let
that.
you know, I really did exhaustively look into your cemetery request. I spoke with the comptroller's office, and I spoke with Tom. It's unfortunately really out of the question. There will be money if you go through the state, but due to it being a private cemetery, we can't just take it over. And if you gift it to us, this is the bizarre thing that the comptroller's office told me, we have to exhume the bodies and move them elsewhere and use that land for profit. And I said, we're not exhuming any bodies. That's totally disrespectful.
I did-
So there will be opportunities through the state, and I do encourage you. I did look into that exhaustively, again, both with Tom and with the comptroller's office, and it's just not an option for the town to take over a private cemetery.
I did apply to the state because we do have 2 CDs. One is 24,000, one is about 74, and I thought if the state would let us use part of those CDs, we'd be fine for another 10 or 15 years because we're very frugal. But I got a letter, I went through Kieran Lawler, and he got a letter back from the state saying the only way I could use those funds is if they created an excess of, I don't know what the term is, but when you have an investment that increases in value, and our investments are increasing
The
in value.
interest on the,
No, not interest, there's
No?
something,
Appreciation?
capital gains.
Okay.
If we had capital gains, we could use part of the capital gains.
Oh, so you have to invest them in stocks. Take it out of that safe stuff. I just would like to comment on the comments about the highway department. I think it's great that you do all the research and that you understand, but it sounds like if he's only got 3 people and then again somebody gets sick, then he's down to 2 people, which is untenable. So if you could just consider deferring to the department head who's been doing it for a long time and he feels comfortable and he knows what he needs, if you would consider doing that, I think, it would be on him whether it worked or it didn't work, but if he's running so tight that if anybody gets sick, he's got nowhere to go, it makes it difficult for the town to give good service. So if you'd consider that, that would be great.
Just want to clarify something I heard. I guess as a shorthand, the 9,000 series budget pages, most of them there are 2 of because there's all the employee benefits and stuff like that for the A fund,
Oh,
and then again for the D fund.
fund.
That's why there's
That's what
2
it
of
is.
most of them.
Well, for each fund then.
yes.
Yeah. So
That's-
all the A fund stuff comes first,
Yes.
and then you'll see the
Correct.
5,000 series stuff for highway, and then 9,000 series for
Correct.
right.
Social Security, Medicare,
Gotcha.
all health insurance, all that stuff.
Makes sense now. Thank you.
Any other? Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on the 2018 town budget.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And now we'll move to discussions. Ethics policy and procedure. Karina made up policy and procedure that she actually got from.
I didn't really make it up. I got it from the state. They
Okay.
asked me to send them the Word form because the PDF form is what's online. So they sent me the Word document form of the model code of
Right.
ethics for local governments. So I just went through and put in our town of Unionville and our town board and things like that. Just at the beginning of this discussion, I just want to say, announce to the public, please, we are now accepting ethics board's applications again.
For an alternate.
At this point, we are hoping, we will speak with Peter Bonk, we are hoping he would he was an alternate. We were hoping he would move to the board. That would give 2 NOPs, 2 Democrats, and 1 Republican on the existing ethics board. And then our assumption would be that we'd be filling the alternate spot. But again, we have not gotten Peter's yes to that right now.
Well, we have to discuss that amongst us,
so
too.
that would be
Okay.
the hope. So, but I did go through like a few different things, so I really think it's important in setting it up. It's brand new. I really couldn't find anywhere in Unionville, other than that it's in our code, and what our code says about it, what the process and procedure was before. So again, I reached out to the state. They were great. The document on the model code of ethics for a town is pretty thorough. The one thing I do think we could add or may want to add, some states have criteria of how often you have to be trained, like planning board and zoning board, and they have to go through. Ethics board doesn't have that. I'm sorry, in some states they do, but in New York State, they just allow it up to the municipality. So I don't know if we want to create a language that's very specific, like every 3 years, or a language that's a little more open, because some of our people have a term of like 5 years, right, or something. I forget what all the
3
terms
years, I
are.
think.
3
3
years.
years.
So
Yeah,
maybe
3
we
years.
do want to say every 3 years, or
Well, every time you're reappointed.
upon appointment, or, it could be more open language, or it could be more specific language. I worry when we make it too specific that, like, we're the ones that have to provide the training, and like I said, the Association of Towns is coming down. They're going to do that training on the 30th this month, from 6:30 to 8:30, and it's been advertised to other communities as well, so they can get on board and have their ethics boards trained. But for the future, we'll probably have to secure that ourselves. They did give me some ideas of how to go about that and get that for free. But, hopefully you've had a whole week to look it over and you've seen that. The other things I included were like the actual procedure and what that would look like, so that somebody knows, well, I have a complaint, how do I do that? And we can actually have a procedure, we can put it up on the website, it can have like the document they can print. I have 2 sample documents. I think I only sent you one, but I found the other one afterwards. There's 2 sample documents. I actually like some of both, so I wonder if like we could merge them and create a very user-friendly, I think the easier we make it for somebody, the better, so that they don't feel like just doing this process is arduous. The one does require like that, the second one you have actually requires that it's like a sworn statement, so they would have to come into Andrea and get a notary public's signature but that would actually prove that this is them and this is their sworn statement. That could be judicious for the town board. So I didn't know if anyone had any markings or ideas or things that you looked up yourself and thought maybe it was not.
Well, from what I saw,
Thorough.
you're pretty much exactly what the state is, so I think we can't go wrong if we stay with that. That doesn't give us any additional risk or room for criticism, because we're just following the state authorized guidance, and maybe we should wait on this till we have the training and find out if there's something we should add or lacking, or get their input from the Association of Towns.
I think it came from them. It was
Okay.
them or the Office of General Services. I would have to look back, but, yeah, it was one of those state offices. So how would everyone want to go about, like, do you feel there is a specific need to put in training and what our expectations are? So this would go along with the town code that already exists, which says basically how it's made up. And then there would be a actual code of ethics, and then there would be the actual procedure and how going forward somebody puts something before the code of ethics. Would we want to see specifics on training? Would we want to leave that open? Would we want to make a very open statement about it?
I would like to see that the person when the person's appointed, they should have training within a certain period, either before or after their appointment. So at least they know what they're doing.
Okay. So training.
And let's see what people think is time frame, but 90 days or less. This way, you're not gonna get somebody on there that hasn't a clue.
Okay.
I'm hoping if you give them 90 days, they could find a free seminar or
Yeah, or
free
webinar or
training
something.
Right.
Webinar or something.
Well,
Yeah.
and like we are having one, so anyone that's newly appointed in another town is being offered to come
Right,
to
to
ours
come here,
too. So
yeah.
like we could
Other towns
piggyback
may
off
offer-
of
yeah.
that. And, you know,
Yeah.
they might have to drive a half an hour, but you know, piggyback off of that. Hopefully there's somewhere in,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't wanna burden
Arrange.
people, but I think
Right.
they need to have some training to be effective.
what I also wanted to see is like, the state of Massachusetts actually does an online training. So you can actually like, okay, if you really can't find it, so that's like super. Yeah, I think it's better to be in person. I like in-person things, but, I'm like, but New York doesn't have that because they don't have the
Yeah.
specific requirement. So something like training within 90 days of appointment,
Yeah, either way, if you take it ahead of
Yeah.
time or after.
or like prior to or post, I guess.
All right, so
Did anyone have any issues with like how the investigation process, the protocol, it talks about how we receive complaints, any preferences on the two different sheets? I'll tell you, the difference in the second sheet, the only things I would like to add is in the very middle, you see those boxes that says if you're willing to testify under oath to the ethics board, it says yes, and then you proceed to make your complaint. If it says no, it actually says stop and give it to somebody that will. Because it kind of, you know, it's like getting an anonymous letter. As a town board, we do get a lot of anonymous letters. I can just tell you, if you're an anonymous letter writer, there's little we can do because it has little teeth. Like, especially if it's a very specific complaint, we can't even corroborate that it exists if you're not willing to tell us who you are. I also know other people that reached out to us in the town and they're like, please don't tell anyone, don't tell my name, don't give out my number. And like, bless you. And we can honor that too. We totally understand that. This job is not to give out everyone's name and number. But like, this would be way too important if somebody is gonna write us like an anonymous thing. So I did like that part, but I thought the other, you know, had some, you know, other things too. I thought if we just merged so that all of this stuff ended up on it. I did like the idea of them coming in. Andrea has made herself so available. So I did think, I like the idea of them actually coming in, showing her ID, signing it in front of her and having her sign. That gives us corroboration that she indeed did see this person's ID. So they're not filling out some fake name, you know, like that weird Facebook post. It's like, I don't know who that is. So, so that this is way too important if somebody's being reported for an ethics violation and it may impact their life or whatever. So I did like that part, and the first one did not have that. So it's just those few things to merge. Anyone else have any comments?
no, we can, hopefully everyone will look it over, see what they think by the next meeting, and maybe vote on putting this into place.
So Tom, I'll send these documents to you too, adding that in. I know it came from the state, so I know lawyers wrote it, but just so like you as our lawyer, like don't see any other issues. And I'll try and create a merge document out of the other one and send that back out to you guys.
A lot of other towns use the state.
Yeah.
It's a safe bet.
Well, when I found it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like everything. This is great. So they have right on their PDF. If you want your Word copy, send an email. So they were great.
Okay,
Payroll.
discussion on the 2017 payroll schedule. So I noticed that
We can't prepay.
at the end, the schedule is supposed to end on December 31st. And we kind of lucked out this year because I think that's the end of the last payroll so, I mean,
Yeah.
the next payroll starts on the 1st of January. We couldn't have made it
Yeah.
easier. But on the sheet that the payroll clerk made up and handed out, she said the last paycheck would be handed out on December 28th. And when I was looking at it, I said to her, but how can that be if you're paying these people for till the 31st?
Yeah, you can't pay in advance.
You can't pay people in advance. And she just said, well, that's how I was told to do it. That's the way they have always done it.
Yes.
And so I want to change that to say December 31st or January 4th actually would be the proper day to hand those paychecks, even though the payroll ended on the 31st. Your next paycheck would come to you, because then you would hand the payroll clerk the timesheets and you would be paid on the 4th. So I want to change that to say January 4th
Yeah,
for the pay,
yeah.
but it
How
will
about
end
direct
on the
deposit?
30th.
Would that be the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, what would happen is she would get the checks ready that probably the 2nd and 3rd and hand them out on the 4th. Because she cannot get them ready before the 31st, because how do we know that you're gonna come to work on the 31st?
And on all the other weeks for the pay ending, there is a 5-day, like a
Right.
lag,
Yeah,
you
right.
know? From the 2nd to the 7th, from the 16th to the 21st, there's always a lag.
So the
I know
only
in my
reason
business there's a lag.
I even brought this
Yeah.
out was because I think that each and every employee got a copy of that in the beginning of the year, maybe in their
They might
first
have
paycheck or
interchecked.
something.
Yeah.
But I just want to clarify that we
Yeah.
cannot, they will be paid on the 4th, I
Yeah.
think is that Thursday, right? Yes,
Oh.
I think it's the
But
4th.
it's, yeah,
So that was, I just wanted to explain what that resolution was,
Okay.
why
yep. Can't forget.
it was a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we'll move to resolutions. John?
Okay. Resolution authorizing change to payroll schedule. Be resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes a change in the 2017 payroll schedule by changing the pay date for the final payroll of 2017, which covers the pay period of December 17th, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 to January 4th, 2018.
I'll second. Town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Councilman Welch,
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly,
Yeah.
Supervisor Hopkins,
Aye.
Councilman McCord,
Aye.
Councilman Fisher.
Aye.
Karina?
Okay, personnel change form.
Was this attached, Andrea, the personnel change form?
Yeah.
It was in the email?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
All right, I just
Um,
want to make sure everyone got a copy of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas the town of Unionville has developed an employee change form to be signed by the employee, department head, and supervisor when there has been a change in salary to the employee. Now therefore, be it resolved by the town board of the town of Unionville hereby adopts the town of Unionville employee change form and authorizes its use in town hall, in the town of Unionville, sorry. Be it further resolved that a copy of the executed employee change form shall be kept on file in the office of the town clerk.
I will second that.
Town board discussion?
I thought it was a great idea.
This came from the comptrollers. They,
Excellent.
it should have been in place, and
I don't know.
Yeah,
so we're already fixing things.
yeah. It's really comprehensive. I like it.
Okay. Roll call vote, Andrea?
Councilman Welch,
Aye.
Councilman McCord,
Yes.
Supervisor Thompson,
Aye.
Councilman McCord,
Aye.
Councilman Fisher.
Aye.
Resolution approving supervisor as administrator of QuickBooks. Whereas the town of Unionville uses the assistance of QuickBooks and whereas it is necessary to appoint an administrator for the town of Unionville for QuickBooks, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby appoints Supervisor Patricia Tompkins as administrator for the town of Unionville QuickBooks for the remainder of the 2017 year.
I'll second that.
Town board discussion? Roll call vote, Andrea?
Councilman Walsh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Thompson?
Aye.
Councilman Fitz?
Aye.
Councilman Brady?
Aye.
Dave?
Resolution to elect health insurance carrier for 2018. Whereas the town of Unionville has investigated different health care providers and programs to provide health insurance for town employees and retirees, and whereas MVP provides the best coverage at the best price for health insurance and CDPHP for retirees, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby elects to utilize MVP as the 2018 health insurance carrier and CDPHP for retirees in the town of Unionville.
I'll second it.
Town board discussion?
So I'm understanding that MVP is going to be the insurance carrier for current employees and CDPHP for retirees. Is that what this is saying?
Yes, that's what this is saying. The MVP plan, Bill was here at the last meeting and he handed everyone out
Right.
the whole packet. MVP is going up 6% for a plan that is equivalent to what we have with CDPHP, but CDPHP is going up 22 or 26%. I don't remember what it was, but it was in the 20s.
22, I think.
Yeah, I
But
just-
the retiree plan with CDPHP, which everyone seems to be happy with, was only gonna go up, I think, 3%, so we chose, that was a better deal to
Yeah,
save
I just,
them.
I think I'd like a little clarification in that second line there to specify that MVP is for current employees.
For health insurance for current employees and CDPHP for retirees. That's how you want it to read?
Something along that line, yeah. Something like
Yeah,
For
that.
town
that
employees?
sounds
For
like-
Or for
current,
current?
town
Yeah,
employees?
I said for current, didn't I?
Yeah.
I wrote it.
You said it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
town board of the town of Unionville.
I
has
agree with
investigated
Steve.
different
That,
healthcare-
that's good to clarify that. It didn't,
Health insurance for current town employees and
And
retirees.
CDPHP
Okay.
for retirees.
Um,
So we
You
have to
made that
make a,
motion?
we have to make a motion for that, right?
Right, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call vote on the actual resolution.
Councilman Walsh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Thompson?
Aye.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Brady?
Aye.
Steve?
Resolution accepting Town of Unionville liability insurance for 2017/18. Whereas the Town of Unionville has received price quotes for liability insurance for the Town of Unionville, and whereas the New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, NYMER, through Agent Brown & Brown and the Spain Agency has provided the best coverage at the lowest cost of $58,240.13. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Unionville hereby accepts the proposal of NYMER through its agent Brown & Brown and the Spain Agency for liability insurance for the town of Unionville for 2017/18.
I'll second that.
Town board discussion? I think Nymer's been great with us. They
We're
came
really
on
lucky.
board, last year, and a
Yeah.
month later,
We had a
we
crisis.
had a crisis down, and
And they're back for
I
more.
gotta tell
Yeah.
you, they,
Yeah.
They didn't dump us yet.
yeah, they came up with a lot of help and funds to get this taken care of, so.
Yeah.
Dave second.
Yes.
Roll call vote, Andrea?
Councilman Walsh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Thompson?
Aye.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Brady?
Aye.
Okay.
John, I think it's your turn.
Resolution accepting resignation of Recreation Department worker and authorizing hiring of Recreation employee. Whereas the Town of Unionville received the resignation of Kim Sabia from her part-time weekend position at the Town of Unionville Recreation Department effective Friday, September 22nd, 2017, and whereas the Town of Unionville Recreation Department has recommended the hiring of Shane Fulton to part-time weekend position at a rate of $14 per hour effective October 7th, 2017. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Clerk of the Town of Unionville hereby accepts the resignation of Kim Sabia from her part-time weekend recreation position effective September 22nd, 2017, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Unionville authorizes the hiring of Shane Fulton to part-time weekend recreation department worker at an hourly rate of $14 per hour effective October 7th, 2017.
I'll second.
Okay? Glad somebody did.
Sorry. Delay.
Recreation Director wanted to make a point.
Quick comment, I'm not sure if it should be the parks line, since they are two separate budgets. Kim does come out of that parks budget line, so I don't know if that even matters in the resolution, but just to clarify.
I don't think it does.
It's the Parks Department.
Well,
So
so
we
instead
can-
of Unionville Recreation Department, it
We're
should
gonna
be
switch it to
Parks.
Parks Department. Okay,
So you want to make a motion?
yeah, I'll make the motion to change it from Unionville Recreation Department to Unionville Parks Department.
I'll second that.
And that's in every spot.
In
with
each
recreation.
spot.
Clerk, town clerk. It's only in those two spots, right?
Yeah,
First
okay,
two.
first two.
First two
Well,
sentences.
it's down at the bottom too.
It is? Town of Unionville. Oh, Recreation
Yep.
Department, I see it, thank you.
Okay, all in favor of changing it to Parks?
Oh, aye. Somebody
I
did.
Patty did.
seconded.
Yeah,
I did, right?
she did, yes. I read the,
No, for the
Who- but-
amendment.
no.
Oh,
to
the
the-
amendment.
I thought somebody just seconded you. You just made the motion.
I made the motion.
I
just
seconded
Change it to
it.
Parks,
John
and then John
seconded it.
seconded.
we complimented each
That
other.
And then
time.
John made,
And the vice versa for the whole thing.
I'll make the motion to second change in
we already did.
No, John.
John
I read the
did.
resolution,
Now we're at
Patty
the resolution.
seconded the resolution.
And then for
The
the
vice versa for
motion.
the
Yes.
motion.
Okay, thank you.
Did we confuse you yet?
Okay.
Are you ready, Andrea?
Somebody said they were seconded.
Roll call vote, Andrea?
Councilman Welch.
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Supervisor Hopkins.
Aye.
Councilman McCoy.
Aye.
Councilman Frazier.
Aye.
Do I have to read this whole-
Yes, you do.
I'll
We
read
planned
fast.
it this
Okay,
way.
then. Yeah, you lined it up.
I
So I
did.
get like the 3-pagers. John may have to read me.
You want- do you
Oh,
want to take over the other
yeah,
half?
well, I'm not gonna read that part anyway. I'm not gonna read that part, just
The
this part.
resolution's right
Yeah.
here.
Let me read the one I got from the. All right, so whereas the following grant was issued by the Federal Aviation Administered to Sky Acres Airport, LaGrangeville, State of New York, state PIN 0810, dot 28 FAA, AIP, a bunch of more numbers. Whereas such project is necessary for the operational safety and efficacy of the airport, and whereas such project is necessary to maintain the airport consistent with FAA and New York State DOT standards, and whereas the FAA has issued a determination that such project qualifies for categorical exclusion from preparation of a formal environmental assessment, and whereas the Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby expresses endorsement of such projects for the purpose of New York State funding only, New York State DOT funding only, and whereas the Town of Unionville's endorsement of such funding did not in any way waive any local permitting requirements, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Unionville, County of Dutchess, State of New York as follows. The Town Board finds such projects a Type 2 action under SECRA, and which would not involve any review under the SECRA 1, and authorizes the town supervisor to execute New York State DOT Form DV-21, which is attached. The town board endorses the project to receive New York State DOT funding assistance. A copy of any National Environmental Protection Act environmental report should be provided and made a part of the town board records. The town board directs the clerk to send a certified copy of this resolution with the attached form of DV-21 to each of the following: Sky Acres Enterprises, New York State Department of Transportation, Tri-State Planning, Engineering, and Land Surveying.
Okay, I will second that.
Town board discussion? Okay, this doesn't mean that we're in any way allowing anything to go on. This is a technicality. The state is in charge of this whole thing. And what this is telling is that the state notified us what is going on, if you can understand it. So that's all we're saying, is that we were notified that the state is allowing all of this stuff.
It
Okay.
certainly sounds like a worthwhile project.
Definitely.
Okay, any other town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Councilman Marsh?
Aye.
Councilman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Duncan?
Aye.
Councilman Moore?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Wow, he almost became a supervisor.
All right, we did everything here. Okay, public comments on non-agenda items.
Good evening. My name is Bill McCabe, and I have a request for the board. I'd like the town board to discuss at a future meeting a revision of the town's sign law, as it seems now to be honored more in the breach, and at best inconsistently. It is the most restrictive law in Dutchess County.
Yep.
It might be at least partially unconstitutional, and has proven to be unworkable in practice. I will be discussing this when I meet with the chair of the Republican Committee, as well as other topics including perceived misrepresentation of facts and personal attacks on candidates on social media, and also on town employees, but also we'll be discussing this town law on signs. So I requested this, I think, 4 years ago, and nothing happened then, but
well,
maybe.
George
I have that.
made up a whole
Yes.
information sheet, and to change the laws
Yes.
on town center property, and it's not just a resolution that we can bring to this table and we can say, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. There has to be public hearings, there has to be all kinds of documentation for the public, for everyone else to review. The planning and zoning should be involved.
Right.
And I think that it's a bit late in my term to start this procedure, but I think
Yeah.
it is a necessary one that needs to be done.
Yeah, so Patty and I did discuss that today. She handed me the information today, so George Kolva has been looking into it, Michael Agori has been looking into it. So going forward, we do need to make sign changes on various different levels, but we will need to address the town code to do that. So they did make some recommendations. I can probably scan that and send that out to the rest of the board so we can go forward and sort of see where we're at.
And now I'd like to go into a brief executive session.
Oh, Tom.
Sorry,
No, that's all right. I never come up.
what's your name?
We did say.
Tom St. Ange, Bloomer Road. I thought you guys might speak about personal time off tonight. It was on the agenda last time and it got tabled. I won't get into my story because I would be a broken record to at least John and Karina and you.
And me.
Right, but there's a packet of information or two out there and.
Again, and I will pass that on to the next administration.
I mean, I don't know. We'll probably be able to talk about it
Okay.
before the end of the year.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for reminding us.
I'll send it to you again.
Just a quickie. There was no resolution. When are you going to present a resolution to approve the budget?
Next meeting.
Yes.
Next week, week from tonight.
A week from
Yes.
tonight will be the next meeting.
16th.
This was the public hearing. Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll make a motion, we go into a brief executive session.
I'll second it.
Regarding.
No decisions were made, no money was spent. I'll second. Dave second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we can make a motion.
Well,
What, are we at that point?
I wanted to discuss the budget before we adjourn. I don't know where if that was your next move.
I thought we were gonna discuss the budget during the public hearing for the budget.
Well, you didn't
We
bring
will
it
be
to...
discussing it next week.
It's not passed.
It's not passed.
I understand that. But you never gave the board an opportunity
Okay, go
to
ahead.
speak, at the public hearing. I feel that we need to restore the fourth full-time highway employee. I know, that'd be a 25% reduction in his workforce. I know from personal experience that it's extremely difficult to first hire and then retain seasonal workers. I experienced that at my job annually. And I just don't feel that our department, our highway department, can work adequately with short that man. And I'm prepared to put that in the form of a motion.
Well, I would encourage you to reach out to Kim, who does payroll, and look at how many days we have only
That's
3 men
irrelevant.
working.
That's irrelevant. And I'm looking at the future of our town here.
Well, even if there is a lot of times when men are not fully staffed, that even more pressure to have a fourth employee to be there to get things done.
And I'll point out as well that a lot of those periods were due to health issues. And he didn't refill those positions because there was some anticipation that the employee might return to the job, and then he'd have to, let somebody go. The second one that was mentioned here had a family member with health issues that he was attending to, which was the reason for the numerous days off. It's not something that was done just because they didn't feel like coming to work that day. These were extenuating circumstances, and it's not the way the department is meant to run. I'll also point out that our department has some of the fewest number of members of any department here in the county.
I'll point out that the gentleman resigned on September 6th, and I guess there was no need to hire another guy to take his place. He's been running with three guys for 3 months.
Well,
Maybe he's saving money.
I don't know,
Well, given the
I'd like to have a highway superintendent come and give us some input on this.
and given the
I know
error
that-
of this board
I did see
and the
that he sent
treatment
an
of highway
email today, but
super,
I didn't have a chance to read it.
I didn't either.
it did specify that he does need that fourth man. That was what was in that letter today.
Yeah, but like I say, you're talking the day of the meeting. I had gotten home from work.
No, I'm just helping you out here, Dave, that's all.
Anything else?
Well, on the similar subject, next meeting, I'm gonna lobby to have that money reinstated for Betty Albrecht for her position. Only $3,200 for next year, for her park secretarial work and her equestrian center work.
Anyone else? Okay, our next town board meeting is November 16th at 7. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.